Big Zay.
Morning, Brad.
Morning, boys. What's going on?
Well, you've got it, and you've got the list, and we know there are 5 Bears players who were not able to practice yesterday. There were another 4, I believe, who were limited. I'm just curious about how healthy they will be. You know, obviously, when you see DJ Moore on the list, you know he played last week. DeAndre Swift on the list, he played last week. Are those major concerns? Is that just sort of acknowledging that they're carrying an injury and moving on? Will today be a better judgment of who's available and who isn't?
I think Friday's really the day where you get a better, a closer sense to what it's actually going to look like on Sunday. But with Swift and DJ Moore, both those guys are really tough, particularly DJ. So I think it's a maintenance thing. It doesn't. It would not concern me overly, especially considering their usage in the game this past Sunday. The big ones to kind of keep an eye on are Tyreek Stevenson with the shoulder and Cole Kmet with the back. Kmet with a consecutive games played streak at 90, which is incredibly impressive for that position. And Tyreek significant because they're already down Jalen Johnson in the secondary.
And Tyreek, when he went out of the game the other day, Brad, they tried a couple different combinations that included Kyler Gordon on the outside, Nick McLeod on the outside. I wonder what direction they will go against the Raven offense that obviously without Lamar Jackson would be different. We'll get to that in a moment. But what do you expect the Bears secondary to look like if they have to go without Tyreek Stevenson?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think, and it's probably one that we won't get an answer to today from Dennis Allen for obvious reasons. But I think there's a possibility we could see a little bit of both, a little bit of everything. Like you could take Kyler Gordon, who has experience playing him on the outside, and put him out there. But in doing so, I think you'd take away some of the stuff that makes him a big part of your defense, that led you to want to give him a lucrative contract extension back in the spring. Some of the stuff that makes him a special player. I don't want to say he would just be another guy on the outside, but that nickel position's really important. You're talking about having him closer to the box, or if not in the box, when he's lined up as the nickel. And so part of me wants to think that if Tyreek can't play, we're going to see a variety of formations and personnel to kind of make up for it, that they will scheme up based on the situation or potentially who Baltimore has on the field.
I found it interesting yesterday when Ben Johnson was asked specifically about getting the ball to the rookie tight end Colson Loveland more, and his response was to sort of rattle off the names of every receiver on the team and mention that they all deserve to get the ball more. And he said, in order to get them all more touches, we have to get more completions. That was his direct quote. And I found that really interesting because he said nice things about Loveland, said he's happy with what he's doing, but they got to get more completions was his message.
Well, I think that's patently obvious to the majority of people that are watching. They completed 15 passes last week. Mm-hmm. They had 17 at Washington. They've been over 20 twice this season. So it's going to be difficult to spread the ball around to the variety of skill position targets they have when the completion totals are so low. The completion totals are low. The completion percentage is substandard. And when that happens, you're going to have guys that you're looking at and you're like, well, why can't they get more out of the 10th overall pick in the draft? Why can't they get more out of the rookie wide receiver Luther Burden? Or why doesn't DJ have bigger numbers in comparison to Rome? It's because there's not enough to go around, and another guy who could be more featured, in my opinion, in the passing game, who you could get, or maybe I should say you could get more out of in the passing game right now, is DeAndre Swift. Like he's pretty good as a receiver out of the backfield, and we've seen, he had the 55-yarder against Washington. He had a long one. Yeah. He had a long one against Dallas as well. He had a play against the Cowboys that I want to say went for about 40 yards, and you take those two plays out, and he hasn't been getting the ball a whole lot. So the short answer is they need more volume. And it all leads back to the quarterback, right?
It does, and I think on the opposite side Sunday, you wonder which quarterback will be there for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson dramatically jogs out after practice has begun. He's out there for a little bit, Brad, and then John Harbaugh predictably cryptic when he's discussing it. What's your gut say? How do you read the situation as far as Lamar Jackson and Sunday against the Bears?
Well, Jackson's a little bit different. Remember the game here 4 years ago? He had been ill early in the week. He practiced on Friday, and then you go back and you look at some of the accounts, and he was so sick on a flight from Baltimore to Chicago, he was curled up in a ball. This is a two-time MVP, probably should be three-time MVP if you look at what happened last season, and that's not knocking Josh Allen at all, but who's never faced the Chicago Bears. So with their backs against the wall, if it's possible, he should be out there. Like, they can't take another loss and somehow start to claw their way back into the AFC North fight. For a team that, how many people had them going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, at least reaching the AFC title game? Like, it's been a disaster. And so I believe the Bears are fully expecting to see Lamar Jackson Sunday in Baltimore.
This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Est Wing Professional Tools, made in the USA for over 100 years, estwing.com. Brad, we had a conversation in the last couple of days, even last week. We talked a little bit about the upcoming trade deadline. It's 2 weeks away. We know that. And the fine folks at ESPN, I know you hold our guy in very high esteem, and our guy being Matt Bowen, who was co-author of this exercise. They put together the 25 best players available, in their opinion, at the trade deadline, and number 17 on the list was Braxton Jones. And we had a little discussion about whether that was wise or not. It's interesting because Matt said that Jones still grades out as a low-tier starter and holds a pass block rate of 90.2%. We know he's been benched, but we wonder if, given everything going on, that's a guy you need to hang on to because maybe he won't be benched. But then again, I don't know. Do you get money? Do you get a draft pick if he signs somewhere? Is it a low pick? Is he more valuable to hang on to or to trade?
I think you really got to weigh that, and I probably would side towards keeping him unless there was some type of offer that you felt like, well, that's probably too good to pass up here, and because. Like Matt said, lower tier starter, because it's a rental. He's headed to free agency at the end of the season. I don't think you're going to get an extravagant offer. This is a team that has been for too long shorthanded on the offensive line, undermanned, unable to handle depth issues created by injuries and performance. So if you've got certainly more credible depth this season and you're this early in the season, do you really want to risk finding yourself back in a position where you're shorthanded with the depth again and that sort of thing? That just, you've got the young quarterback. You're looking for growth on offense. That just seems a little short-sighted for what could be like a 7th-round pick.
Thought Ben Johnson did a really nice job yesterday explaining how the connection between TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmunds has allowed this Bear defense to get better and improve since Edwards came back. But he alluded to, Brad, some growing pains as they kind of going back to preseason and switching the positions subtly. TJ Edwards taking over in the middle, allowing Tremaine Edmunds to do what he's been doing of late, with the exception of one game. How aware were you that maybe this was something that may have taken a little bit more time to adapt and adjust? And even though it's a subtle adjustment, it has been significant because both guys right now playing at a pretty high level.
Yeah, it's the one that pops out at you is Edmunds, just because the 4-game stretch he's on is the best that he's had in his career. It's certainly in a number of tackles, which those can come a lot in a couple games for a guy, and then the plays don't come their way. And through no fault of their own, maybe the tackle figures aren't quite the same. But for a guy who's been in the league quite a while now, he's on a bit of a tear. He's got the interceptions. He's been involved in the backfield a little bit. The Bears are getting the best football that Tremaine Edmunds has played in nearly 2.5 seasons with them right now. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you're looking at an adjustment period anytime you want to switch things up, and I think you're looking at a familiarity thing with Edwards has been out. He missed a bunch of time, right? So getting them back on the field, a little bit of time on task. I don't want to. It shouldn't be overblown yet. Like they just had a really good game against Spencer Rattler, who's at 1-11 or 1-12 as a starter in the league. I think we need a little more time to see how this unit looks against some more competent offenses. But I wouldn't take anything away from the little streak that Tremaine is on right now. And you just look at the stats defensively with TJ on the field and off the field, and it's a striking difference.
We kind of talked about these games where you play your old team, and obviously Roquan is playing against the Bears, and that'll be interesting. But what about Devin Duvernay, a former 3rd-round pick in Baltimore? We chatted about him and suddenly kind of concluded somehow he's on a 1-year deal. I mean, is this guy here for the long term? Is he just a stopgap kind of guy? Is Luther Burden the third a potential replacement for him? Would he be, since you can't get him the ball more, would he be better if you could get him the ball on punt returns? Or, as we discussed, what you want more than anything is a guy that can catch the ball, even if he just catches it and falls down, Leon Johnson?
Yeah, in terms of returners not being on long-term deals, like unless you've got an elite one,
right,
or a guy that's on his rookie contract, I think most of them are going to be sort of in that year-to-year boat. The player's hoping he pops a big season and maybe he can get a 2-year deal with a little bit of that second year guaranteed. The team's just looking to fill those options with guys that don't cost them a ton of money. Like Duvernay's been a Pro Bowl player in the league, and the Bears got him for close to the minimum. Now, I think he gives them security, which you referenced there in terms of catching the ball. And, could Burden be that guy moving forward? I think ultimately what you want is Luther Burden to start having a larger role on offense, and his snap total reached the 20s this past week for the first time this season. So I think you're looking to get him more and more involved there. He's had a couple returns on kickoffs that have been good, but down the road, like a year from now, 2 years from now, I don't think you want. I think you want Burden such a big part of your offense that maybe he's not a primary option for you on punt returns. He's the kind of guy with a skill set that's always going to practice it, and you're going to have him available if needed. But if Luther Burden is their primary punt returner in, say, 2027, the wide receiver thing probably hasn't gone as big as everyone involved would have hoped for.
Brad, just a hunch, but my guess is that, and I didn't see it, but you weren't the one asking Caleb Williams about Ben Johnson being dared to take his shirt off so Wiener Circle can feed the city again with free hot dogs. Did that come up in any of your conversations yesterday, and what do you think of that?
You got some hot dog stand looking for cheap and free advertising that you're providing right now, Dave?
I guess I just did. It's hot there, Brad. It's for public consumption. I'm just asking what you think of it. You didn't ask.
I'm not driving into the city to get a hot dog. So I did not ask that question.
Shocking.
That's hysterical.
Shocking.
When you look at this game, we haven't seen any kind of major change. I think the over/under went down 2 points, and I know we shouldn't be talking about gambling, but the Bears are still a considerable underdog.
It's okay to talk about it as long as it's not involving the association.
Okay, all right. By the way, we got a lot of news about that we're going to have to get into. But what is your take on how the level of this game would be impacted by various people in, out, etc.? Does it matter?
Well, the huge one's Lamar. I don't think
that's it.
I don't think the status of really anyone else from this game, and friend of the program Joe Fortenbaugh could answer that question better Friday morning. Lamar's the one that could swing the line. Any of these other guys, I don't know that it would really impact what should be looking at, and if it's not Lamar, your question is it who is it? Is it Cooper? Is it Snoop Huntley? So that's going to be interesting. We shall see.
All right, Brad, good stuff.
You're the best. Thank you, Big
Have a good day up there.